Today we're going to talk about rockets, and then we're going to make some rockets and hopefully launch them as well. First of all, though, we need to have a think about why we use rockets. And rockets are still our major way of getting things off the Earth's surface and up out into space, whether that's people visiting the space station, new satellites being launched, or things going to other planets. Things that they have to consider when launching rockets are things like aerodynamics and weight. If the weighting of the rocket is wrong, the aerodynamics aren't too good, it's not going to fly straight. And if it's too heavy, it's not going to take off, or it's going to cost an awful lot more money to lift off. But it's the same time you need to get everything into the rocket whilst not having it too expensive. To make the body of our rocket then, we're going to use a piece of A4 paper and our plastic tube to form the shape. So the first thing you need to decide is whether you want a short rocket, in which case you're going to roll it along the short edge, or a longer rocket. We're going to use the longer one for our rocket today. If you're doing this as a group, you can try out different designs and see which ones work best. So you roll this carefully around the plastic tube, but don't make it too tight, because if the plastic tube can't come out, it's not going to come off your launcher. Then we just use a couple of bits of sellotape to hold the tube together. Like that, and we can take our tube out for just now. So we have our rocket body, but if we blow air from our launcher into this just now, it's just going to go straight out the end and leave our rocket on the launch pad. So we need to block up one end of the rocket. So you fold it flat, squish it down flat, fold the two corners in, a little bit like you're making a paper plane, and then a little bit more sellotape across the top. Now we take our tube again, and again we're still going to fit onto our launcher, but it also allows you to push the rocket open again at the end. So now we need to add a little bit of weight and stop our rocket disintegrating when it hits the ground the first time. So we're going to add our nose cone, and sometimes a little twist is needed to make it go on. We keep our tube in, our plastic tube in, so that the rocket doesn't get squashed, and now we can take it out, and we're not going to use the tube again. So this is the very basics of our rocket, but at the moment we still have no way of stabilizing it. It might fly fairly straight over a short distance, but it might start spinning around if we do a longer shot. So we're going to add some fins on the back, a little bit like a dart. And you can choose as many fins as you want. You can have big ones at the back and little ones at the front. You could have two big wings like an aeroplane. It's entirely up to you. We're going to use 3 fins. And you might want to think about the spacing of your fins. If you have all the fins on one side, it's not going to be too stable. Try and spread them out. But it's one of these things where if you're doing this with a group, you can use different designs. So long and short rockets, different numbers and sizes of fins, to try out which designs work better. And then when you come to launch them, you can see which ones fly best. Fin number 3. There we go. So we've got our 3 fins, not massively even, but not too bad. So that when our rocket flies, it should hopefully go straight to where we're aiming for and not spin around in circles or crash into the ground too quickly. So that's our main points. That's all we need for our rocket making today. We now need to launch our rocket, and one of the ways of doing that is with an indoor launcher like this one here. So we just have a piece of pipe that we can slide our rocket onto, and then when we come to launch, we jump on the plastic bottle at the bottom. The air is forced up the tube into the pipe and pushes the rocket off our launcher, off into orbit. So we choose the angle that we want to launch at and jump on the bottle.